there ever been a company that has had more system failures than Sony with PlayStation? I'm really trying to, besides the government. Microsoft? I don't think so. I think Microsoft cooks. They hardly ever have problems. Like, yeah, I don't agree with that at all. What do you mean? Sony's top 3? EA? No, no, no. This Sony's on a whole other level. What's this here? $800 and you can't even use the physical drive without PSN. I just tested this. You cannot pair a disk drive with PSN if PSN is down. Given that my collection is physical, the PS5 Pro is effectively bricked until PSN is up again.
So, I mean, guys, this is a pretty messed up situation. PlayStation wants to surveil all gamers going forward and put them on a social credit score system and punish them for anything they deem as inappropriate while you're playing their games. And Nintendo is to blame for this 100%. Today's video comes from Bayvara Dark. Her channel will be linked in the description of the video so that you can go check her out and support her. Why is Sony suddenly trying to surveil all of their players and punish them while utilizing a social credit score? And how is this going to affect gamers and video and console gamers going forward entirely? What role did Nintendo play in this? And how is this also going to fall back on Nintendo as well? We'll talk about all of that in this video. Watch it in the video to fully have these questions answered. Don't forget to follow us over on Rumble. It's linked in the description of the video. As console gaming fades into history, the PC master race is rising from its ashes, stronger, faster, and more customizable than ever. Don't get left behind in the dust. Angry Guys Arcade is your gateway to affordable PC gaming, personalized gaming advice, and the latest news shaping the future of gaming. The link is in the description. Go check it out now.
Only care about controlling their customers. They don't care about your rights or your freedoms. They simply want you to act a way that they have deemed as socially acceptable when you're playing on your PlayStation or Xbox, and they only care about how much money you are actually swiping on their latest products. And of course, Sony is a very bad actor in this industry when it comes to control. They do want as much as possible, and unfortunately, their latest detection patent is feeling a lot like a digital social credit score. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, over the years, we have seen a lot of companies use AI to police people on their platforms. Microsoft is one of the worst. Sony is also extremely bad. And now it looks like they're looking to push their luck even further. So this is a That Park Place opinion piece. It says, protecting kids online is a goal we all support. Nobody wants young players harassed, bullied, or exposed to toxic behavior in games like Minecraft or Fortnite. That's why tools like muting, blocking, and reporting exist, and they're essential. I say this all the time. What is the point to have these features in place if you're telling people not to use them and you're just telling people to throw a fit every time content is found on platforms that they have deemed unacceptable? If you don't like the way somebody is talking or acting towards you in a game or on a social platform, you can mute them, you can block them, and you never have to speak with them again. But it's like these companies want to go above and beyond, which ultimately isn't surprising because they want as much control as possible. So even though they've had these tools in place for decades, at this point, they're saying, well, if we just add this little AI, we can control people a little bit more, which definitely isn't the route I think they should be going down. It says a new Sony bad actor detection patent floats an approach that goes far beyond moderation. According to a recently published filing, the Sony bad actor patent outlines a system that tracks and scores players across online multiplayer games based on how frequently they exhibit negative behavior, and if a player crosses a predetermined threshold by, for example, engaging in inappropriate chat or griefing, Sony's system could automatically limit their access to online features until they improve their behavior. This is absolutely insane that they truly believe that this is the future. Now, Sony, of course, loves to patent things just like many other companies. And hey, maybe they will never actually fully implement this, but it's extremely worrying that this is where their mind is at. This is what they are considering doing. At first glance, it sounds like a reasonable step towards clearer gaming spaces, which I, of course, do not think so, because we have seen this happen time and time again, companies trying to overreach. Unfortunately, it's not going to change anytime soon, and the only way that we can really fight back against this is, of course, threatening boycotts, tagging companies like Sony on social media, voicing how unhappy we are. That's why I make so many videos on this channel, so maybe companies will actually take my and your feedback into consideration. We often see companies like this saying that they want to protect children, which I could understand, but the issue is that it is an excuse for them to continue to push the limits. Oh, well, we just want to protect kids and we want to make sure that there are safe spaces for children, which, yes, I do think that we can all get behind. The problem is that it extends to adults as well, and our behavior is now monitored. It says the patent filed in October and published on May 22nd, 2025 details an automated behavior detection system that evaluates players through frequency markers. The more often you break the rules or are perceived to, the more likely you are flagged as a bad actor. A major problem with a system like this is hatred and harassment. If I call you a little bitch, ding, 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 that could be 3 points on my social credit score, even though it's just a joke, even though it is a jest. Maybe I'm simply reading a word off of a screen and then it flags it automatically. That could be another one. It doesn't have any context, there's no nuance to it. And I could have my account unfairly banned, and then there's not going to be anyone there to actually unban it. That could mean that all of my purchases end up being unusable, and they are stealing from me. Words online can mean different things to many different people, and there is no possible way that they could apply rules consistently across the board. Because again, if I'm in a game with my friend and I call them a bitch and somebody else overhears it and then reports it, well, that context is completely missing from the situation. I just got banned because my friend and I were joking around. This is a problem with many social platforms, though, that if a company wants to ban you, they will find a way to do it. That's why their wordings in terms of service are so loose. They want to be able to remove you from their platform whenever they want, why ever they want. It says, though, if this sounds eerily familiar, that's because it is. China's social credit system operates on many of the same core principles Sony outlined in this patent, such as tracking behavior, assigning scores, rewarding compliance, and punishing deviation.
So, guys, basically, they now have a social credit score system that mimics the CCP, and this is in video games. So, if you give this garbage to your kids, this is what they're going to be doing to your kids, because Nintendo is now going to be recording conversations, not only conversations using the built-in microphone and the Switch too, but also if you give them the camera, no one should be setting that garbage up, especially if they will also record their conversations with their friends or whatever, using that visual input, all of the video. And then Nintendo will save it and review it. And if they don't like what you're saying or anything, they can then ban you entirely from Nintendo and take all of your games away, and you're done. This is how Nintendo now operates. This is the new Nintendo. It's so sick. And now Sony's like, oh my gosh, look at what they're doing. We can do it we can even do it better. Okay, we can one up them. So it's just, this is basically Marxism. This is how Marxism actually works. And it's insane that this is what's happening with video games. This is why all roads lead to PC Master Race. All roads lead to PC Master Race. I actually have what we call Angry Guys Arcade. And I talk about what's happening in the video game industry. I also teach you guys how to get into affordable PC gaming. Everyone should go and check that out. You might think that you can't afford to do PC. It's absolutely not true. I actually have that linked in description of the video if you want to go and check out Go and check out Angry Guys Arcade. I post regular updates there, new articles, and again, we teach you about how to get into affordable PC gaming. We also give you personalized gaming advice. I mean, because this is where things are really headed. Where everything is heading is towards Steam, GOG, but especially Steam, where it's the only place where you don't have to pay for online. You don't have to pay for online with GOG either. To my story, you don't have to pay for online with GOG either, but in terms of having, like, a lot of people to play with and and a really great community at Steam. And you can say what you want more or less on Steam. You're not going to get banned for calling someone a whiny little, bitch. It's just it's enough. And guys, and you're not going to be, you don't have this social credit score system. And let me make this very, very clear. What these companies are doing is they're all going into the territory of illegal predatory behavior, and they're pushing things as far as they can, and just hoping that no one can challenge them with these forced arbitration agreements and so forth. When it comes to Steam, on the other hand, they're not doing that as much. In fact, recently Steam basically changed their policies where to allow you to sue them instead of requiring arbitration agreements. Now, don't get me wrong, Steam is not completely virtuous. The reason why Steam actually changed their policy to allow anyone to sue them instead of requiring arbitration agreements is because in certain states like California, to my understanding, you basically the person who requires a forced arbitration agreement has to pay the lawyer fees for the person who is filing the arbitration. So basically opens the arbitration. So, and what ended up happening, Steam realizes that you can have a bunch of people mass filing arbitrations. So if you ban someone from a class action lawsuit, they can basically just get together and mass file arbitration agreements. And then this is the crazy thing. And then basically Nintendo, and then the company that requires it will have to pay for it. So Steam realized this, and as a result, they got rid of that arbitration agreement. You can now just sue them individually. I will say that they kind of mess with you because they're like, well, if you want to sue them though, you agree that you have to delete your entire Steam account, like, before you can proceed with the lawsuit. And they're trying to bank that most people are not going to sue them if they are forced to give up their entire library of games that are worth thousands of dollars, sometimes maybe even tens of thousands of dollars. So again, Steam is not entirely virtuous, but at least you do have options here. With Nintendo, on the other hand, you really don't have any other options. But again, many legal experts say what Nintendo is doing is completely illegal, right down to bricking your console. It is illegal in the EU, but so they're only doing it in the United States and possibly the UK. But even the UK's version is more restricted than it's less restrictive than the US. The US is basically just like a complete nasty. It's basically just the worst of the worst. So they know we're being taken advantage of in the US, and they're trying to just double down on that. But guys, it just keeps going from bad to worse, and Nintendo is completely to blame for this because every company is now following Nintendo's bad behavior. Nintendo basically is like, okay, so it's going to be 450 for a Switch 2, and we're going to charge you $90 for games and for physical games. And now what are companies doing? You have companies who are like, Microsoft's like, okay, we got that. So yeah, we're going to raise the price of the Xbox Series S, which should be going down in price. It launched for $299. It's sold for as little as like $250 or $230 in the past, but now we're going to raise that by $80. So now it's $380. We're also going to raise the price of the normal Xbox. So that was like what, $500. We're going to raise that up now too. So now it's what, like $600. Like they just kept rate, like we have a 2 terabyte model. All right, that was like 600 before. We're going to charge you 700 for that now too. Like, congratulations. And it's like this, and we're also going to raise the prices for all our first party games up to $80. Yeah, starting in the fall. I mean, guys, it's going from bad to worse. Only console peasants are celebrating this. What I realize is that when it comes to these people that celebrate the bad behavior from companies like Nintendo, for example, if you purchase a Nintendo Switch 2, it does not work out of the box right now. It's basically a brick. You have to wait for a day one update before you can actually play the console. So some people have received their Nintendo Switch 2s early and they don't actually work. And This basically, and they're like, oh, the fans are like, this is great. Nintendo is preventing people from leaking any information. What it is that these people are CRACKHEADs, all right, and basically these console game, these video games, these consoles from PlayStation, Sony, they're that's their CRACK, and they want to, and they feel like that these companies are protecting their CRACK. So as long as they will have a steady stream of CRACK, they don't care about anything else, and they cannot think normally, reasonably, or rationally. They don't care what these companies do. You have to remember that a CRACKHEAD will SUCKDICK for some CRACK. Okay. And for Gen Z, if you don't know what that means, you should use dictation, and well, I don't know. You guys, I don't know. I really don't know what to say about Gen Z, because I know Gen Z can't read, but read, write, spell. But they'll just talk to a friend. Talk to a friend who actually has the skill sets to read and to write and to spell. Go look for a Gen X or older millennial. Well, look for a Gen X or an older millennial, and they'll be able to help you out with that. I know reading and writing is ancient technology for y'all, but just figure, you'll have to find someone who could decipher it. Thankfully, there's still Gen Xers around. There's still some older millennials around, so they should be able to help you with that if if you ask nicely. But I mean, no, I know going into the future, as more Gen Xers go underground, go under their rocks, and older millennials follow them, not directly follow them, but their example, and dig their own holes in the ground and put a rock over it. It's going to be harder and harder to come to find people who have those skill sets to help you. But you're not going to be all right. You kids are not going to be all right. Gen Z is not going to be all right, but no one really cares. Anyway, point I'm trying to make is that it's basically where you have these people who this is their drug. They want their drug, and basically they feel like Nintendo, as long as Nintendo keeps on providing them with a steady supply of it, they could care less. And that's the reality we are now looking at. It's a very, very sad, screwed up, messed up reality, but it is one we are now in, and one we have to accept. Well, we don't have to accept it. We can go PC. I am a PC player. I play only PC. I do not own a PlayStation. I do not want to own it. I do not plan to own a PlayStation. I've owned every single PlayStation up to the PlayStation 4, and then that was it. I did not own a PlayStation 5, and I have this dream of completely skipping over the PlayStation 5 generation, and it looks like that's what's going to happen. PlayStation 6, get the hell out of here. I have no interest in picking that garbage up, especially how much I now know about how PCs work, how, you know, GPUs, CPUs, RAM, all of this other stuff, single core performance, multi core performance. You've got to be kidding. You've got to be kidding me. All right. You've got to be kidding me. Upscalers, like what is it? XESS, which is like Intel's upscaler, FSR, DLSS, different versions of DLSS, different versions of FSSR, um, FSR, lossless scaler. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. You think that I'm going to go back and screw with you? They can go straight to hell. All right, they can go straight to hell. Guys, PC master race all the way, and Nintendo is completely to blame for this. Ultimately, what may end up happening, what I foresee happening, especially with like things like the Legion Go S now coming out that run SteamOS, and they are absolutely incredible, and SteamOS now being functional on other devices like the ROG Ally X. Guys, for like $50, $50, you can use key reseller websites and get like for 50 for the cost, less than the cost of one Nintendo Switch 2 game. Less than the cost of one Nintendo Switch game, which is $60. New game. You can get like 4 to 5 incredible bangers through Steam. Even some brand new releases using using key resellers, or just waiting for them to, or just waiting for one of their stale sales to happen, like the spring sale or whatever. But you can use the official key resellers, or even unofficial stores, depending on how what you want to go roll with. And you can buy a bunch of amazing games, some of them not even available on the latest consoles yet, because there's usually like often like a couple of like gap where they're on PC for years before they ever even set foot on console for the console peasants. So you can spend just a few dollars, like you spend $50, your kids get like tons of games, or you as an adult, you'll get tons of games, great games, first party, get triple A games, or double A games, it doesn't matter. the same games that are on PlayStation, the same games are on Switch and Xbox, the exact same games that you can also mod way cheaper. And it's like, why else? Why would you set foot on console? It's because these console people are idiots. It's because these console people view the console makers as they feel like they belong to something, and it's no matter how bad it is, they're going to hold on to it because they're basically Marxist individuals. They have a Marxist mindset. They would feel like they're a part of something, and they would rather strip everyone of their rights and freedoms to ensure that their that their party comes out on top, because it's basically politics at this point. All right, and they're fighting for companies that don't even like them. That's how these people are. It's a sick and sad thing. Nintendo fads, fanboys, Sony ponies, Xbots, they're all one and the same. All one and the same, guys. But it's a sick reality, and it's not going to get any better. But this is going to continue pushing more people to PC, where they belong. All right. But don't get me wrong. A lot of people they would rather give up playing games than ever go to PC, and I really don't care. I really do not care, because those are the people who are creating the most problems for us in society and giving these companies the power to surveil us, the power to steal from us, to brick our consoles, to take away everything that we've paid for, to tell us that we will own nothing and be happy about it, to strip us of our rights to even sue them or question them. This is disgusting, and these people are to blame. But that's all I have for you guys. Let me know what you guys think about everything we discussed here in this video, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Let me know if you agree that Nintendo is to blame for all of this. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA Men walking away. And cheers.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.